Hey, I'm John Rubo, owner of Yonkers Brewing Company in Yonkers, New York, Westchester County. This is Between Two Tanks, a series about craft beer with great conversation. Today I have Evan Perdomo-Cohen with me from the Green Growler, a great place. You got to check it out. He's going to tell us all about the Green Growler, his favorite beer styles, his favorite restaurants. Welcome to the show.
Cheers. Thanks for having me, John.
Thanks. As we start off with this Raise IPA, and we'll talk about hazy IPAs in a little while, but
sure.
Tell us about the Green Growler, how long you've been there, everything about the Green Growler.
Yeah, well, I guess you got to start at the beginning. The Green Growler first started as a homebrew shop in 2011 in Croton-on-Hudson, New York, right on Riverside Avenue. And due to popular demand, especially back then because there weren't a lot of craft beer bars coming out, it went from homebrew shop to they added growler fillings to a fridge with a selection of, craft beers, to another fridge, to bands playing, to, oh God, this space is too small. And then they moved to our current space, which is on Croton Point Avenue, right at the entrance of the Croton-Harmon train station. So if you're turning in like you're going to the Croton train station and you see two big white houses, one of which has a green door, we're the one with the green door and the open sign and all that fun stuff. So we shifted away from homebrew because that mostly became an industry on the internet, and people just wanted us to have more and more local and craft independent beers. So we now have about 160 bottles and cans at any given time in our fridges, and then 12 rotating drafts that always include a cider, a mead, and then a smattering of IPAs, dark beers, ambers, with our kind of ethos, which is that we try to make sure as much as possible we're doing independent craft beer manufacturers with a focus on New York State and the local. So we try to have as many Hudson Valley breweries, as many local friends and makers like represented. And then beyond that, we kind of like to describe ourselves. I've called us a punk rock cheers. Some people call it a craft beer clubhouse. My favorite is somebody once described it as, it's like your uncle's basement, but it's just filled with like every kind of beer you want. There's always good music playing in the background. Everyone's really friendly and happy to help. We have light snacks to keep you going from trying all the beers. We do trivia on Wednesdays and music on the weekends. We try to do events with different local artists. We use our upstairs space as like a free gallery for any local artists. We let people rent it out for birthday parties. We just, a place to come and hang out, got a good view of the river, and just have a couple of beers. And yeah.
So the Green Growler is exactly what craft beer is all about. It's about community. It's about pulling people together.
Heck yeah.
It's just a great space.
I grew up in Croton-on-Hudson. My parents moved there from Riverdale in '85. And so I'm 40 now, so I've spent pretty much my entire life living in Westchester. And when I moved away, went to college, lived in the city and worked in a different industry down there, multiple industries, and found my way back up to Westchester and was presented with an opportunity to take over this long-standing craft beer bar, and felt like it was a good way to get back in with my hometown community and give back to them and provide, a safe space for anybody who just wants to come and relax and be themselves and have something good to eat and drink.
So why did you go from one industry to the craft beer industry?
So I previously was doing double duty freelance in the film and television industry. I started as an intern and worked up to doing video editing. And when I relocated to Westchester, I should preface, I was doing that freelance because in between jobs I was going on tour. I was in a couple of different bands, some from this area of New York and some from further south, Long Island and New York City. And so hitting the road with bands and trying to make it and just have some fun. And when that part of my life kind of wound down, I'd done television a little longer, and that started to wind down, and had a conversation with my wife, who was like, well, you like beer? Like, we've been getting into going into different bars because living in Brooklyn and New York City, there's no shortage of awesome breweries and cool bars, and we had found ones that kind of echoed that similar vibe to what the Growler is. And I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll get my footing in the beer industry. Maybe I'll go work at a brewery, maybe I'll go work at a bar. I ended up at the Growler, and just, serendipity, just like right timing. The previous owner, Shauna, was looking to sell. This was 2018, and at the start of 2019, I took over, signed the paperwork, took the keys, and just kept going. Took what she had already built, because all the stuff in our previous place and up until then, which was about 2 years in our current location, was all her. And I really just kind of put our spin on it. She booked a lot of jazz and folk acts. We continue to book lots of local acts like that, but now we book punk rock, we book hip hop, we book DJs that do weird samples of live jazz with drum and bass underneath it, and everything in between, because growing up in Westchester, I had a bunch of venues that I really liked going to locally, and they've all disappeared because everybody grew up, and now I felt like it was partially my responsibility to have a place where those kinds of small niche scenes could still develop and blossom. And so, we do all of our shows. They're all free. Bands get paid based on how much you drink. So if you come to see a band and you come thirsty, then they get to go home with a little extra gas money. And that's just kind of always been the like driving force of the Growler, is just a cool place for people to gather and enjoy art and food and culture and all that kind of stuff.
And what's unique about a place like Yonkers Brewery or the Green Growler is you could just hop on Metro North and walk out and you're right there.
It's true. Yeah. Literally, it's probably about a 40-minute train ride in between us both, but hop on an express, it might even be less. But yeah, it's been great. There are a lot of awesome bars and breweries that have been, like us, fortunate enough to be on this Metro North line, and you really could make like a train crawl out of it if you wanted to.
I like that.
And then you don't have to drive, which is awesome.
And you could drink on the train.
Yeah, and you can drink on the train. We find ourselves educating lots of because people will come up to us, especially this time of year, because we have hiking trails in Croton, and we're not far from Beacon or Peekskill. There's lots of great places. We have the Blaze, which is literally less than a 10-minute walk from where our bar is, the Jack-o'-lantern Blaze. And so people will come up for all the seasonal stuff, and then they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna take some beers back to my apartment. They're like, why wait? You can drink on the train, as long as it's not St. Patty's Day, New Year's, or SantaCon. Those are the only times I've ever heard you're not allowed to drink on the train.
Those make sense.
And they speak for themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to another beer down the flight line.
Sure.
As we pick up another question.
Cheers.
So
yeah.
So we have a few different styles here. I want to ask you your professional opinion about pairing beer and food. So we'll use the flights that we have. So let's start with a hazy IPA. What food would you pair with a hazy IPA?
Well, I gotta say, I watched a couple of your Awesome Between the Tanks series to make sure that I didn't double up on anyone's answers.
It's okay.
It might seem like kind of a stretch, but with hazy IPAs, with IPAs in general, because of the bitterness, I think they go really well with a fruit pie, like apple pie or a blueberry pie.
Okay.
Because the hoppiness kind of rounds out the sweetness of a pie. We did an event, it was a while ago, probably summer 2019, but we did an ice cream and beer pairing with a local ice cream shop that's in Croton called the Blue Pig. And for the IPA, can't remember what IPA we used, but Lisa, their owner, made a vanilla ice cream with chunks of apple pie in it, and it was a smash. Everyone lost their minds because they were like, this wouldn't make sense, but it fits.
It was perfect.
So yeah, apple pie and a hazy.
Love it. How about an amber lager?
Amber lager, I would say, to keep it local, I would shout out one of my favorite under the radar places and their food. For an amber lager, I would get a chili cheese dog wedge at Hubba's in Port Chester. Yeah, I think that would be a match. Definitely something
chili cheese dog.
Not that far. Yeah, Hubba's is this tiny little hole in the wall. I think they have a second location now right around the corner from the Capitol. And they just make the spicy, no beans. It's just a vat of beef cooking with spices, and it's napalm, man. But they put it on burgers and dogs, and it's a great like post-concert, late night kind of place. When I was growing up in like high school and college, whenever we go to a show at like SUNY Purchase or somewhere, you know, in southern Westchester, we'd always be like, what, are we an extra 20 minutes from Hubbard? Yeah, it's fine. They're open. Like,
nice.
It's 3 a.m. Like, let's go get some sandwiches. So yeah, amber lager and a chili cheese dog.
How about a pumpkin spice ale?
That's interesting. I feel like the reflex is to go with dessert. Like, and I'd say, you know, like a cider donut would definitely work well. You just keep it. If you're already drinking the pumpkin spice beer, then
right.
then you already want all the fall flavors in your life.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that working. I could also see like, I don't know, like almost like a Thanksgiving sandwich. Have you ever seen the like stuffing gravy, like
turkey,
you know, turkey? Yeah, you get those
up.
nice savory meats, and then like the sweetness and the different clove and spices. I think that would be a kind of a cool pairing.
You know, some places think that, or some people think that, hey, it's, you know, Halloween is over, no more pumpkin beer for me. But really, pumpkin, you could stretch that out until the end of November through Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's a perfect beer for Thanksgiving dinner.
They definitely work, yeah. It's a great Thanksgiving beer. And I feel like it could also work like, you know, if you're bringing like a pumpkin beer to Thanksgiving, it'll work with like your cheese platters, like some of the saltier and fattier cheeses. Pumpkin spice is not just for October. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of life.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
On next year's can.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice ale. It's a lifestyle. I love it. How about a wit beer?
I tend to really like wit beers with seafood, especially like straight Belgian wits are my go-to when I'm doing like mussels and fries, like a Belgian kind of style eatery. So yeah, I'd probably lean towards maybe like a paella or even a gumbo like this time of year. And I think it would work especially with the blood orange. Like blood orange is a cool winter kind of citrus flavor. And so having something like I think my vote would be a seafood gumbo, like nice and hearty and like a light beer that's not gonna overshadow or bulk it down like further because you're already eating like a nice robust meal.
Right. All right, well, let's go with our pumpkin spice.
Sure.
There. All right, so what is your favorite Westchester restaurants?
I feel like it's an easy answer for me because it's the one whenever people ask me what place I'd rather go than my own bar, and it's always Bridgeview Tavern in Tarrytown. Even before I was in the industry, the food plan is on point. The beers are always crazy. Chris, their owner, and the rest of the crew are just so welcoming. It's got this, because it's a lived-in bar. It's been around since the 70s. Chris and his sister took it over from their dad. It's just awesome. It feels like everyone's neighborhood bar, even if it's your first time coming. And they do burgers with wild game meat. They'll do like elk burger and boar burgers. They're always changing it up. Yeah, and they always have Hill Farmstead on draft, which is crazy for beer nerds out there because Hill Farmstead until a couple of years ago was like impossible to find. We, as the Growler, only get kegs of Hill Farmstead, I'd say like once every 2 months. So, but Chris has it. He's got the hook. He's got the hookup. He's old school beer like industry. So, and it's well deserved. He's a hardworking guy, and everybody there is awesome. So that's my vote.
And what is your favorite beer style? Like, I mean, you must have a go-to beer style.
Sure. I like to drink seasonally. So, you know, I'll drink wits and sours in the summer. I'll drink stouts and porters in the winter. My favorite style of beer, and one that I think doesn't get enough love, is Rauch beer. I really like smoked beers. I'm a fan of smoky scotches. I'm a fan of barbecue, and just smoky Helles, a smoked Helles, or a straight Rauch beer are definitely my go-tos. And I think that a lot of people get scared by the smoke, but I think that whether you're at like a tailgate eating burgers around a grill, or you're sitting around a fire pit like in the fall or winter, the smoke just pairs so well, and the beers are kind of malty and sweet, or a little crisper if you're going with the Helles. But yeah, smoked beers are something I feel like most people hear that and they're like, what are you talking about? And it's like, you gotta try it, it's awesome.
Well, here's to the wit beer.
There you go, cheers.
So what are some fun events that you guys have coming up at the Green Growler over the next couple months?
Oh man. Well, like I said, we do trivia every Wednesday. And we do a game night first Thursday of every month with a local comic book and card shop, Third Universe, who are buddies of ours, and they bring out some awesome board games, hard to find, card games or what have you. And we have an old classic Nintendo and a PS2 set up in our upstairs lounge, and you can just hang out, play video games, drink beer, play Magic the Gathering, Dungeons & Dragons, whatever you want to do, And then, we try to have concerts almost every Friday and Saturday night. Trying to think of some of the heavy hitters that are coming up soon. I know we've got, they're Mercy guys and some Yonkers love. West Meets West is coming up December 16th with some friends. I think the New Healer Heartbreak and our buddies in For Lack of a Term. So that'll be awesome. We have all our stuff. We post our monthly calendar and all our events on Facebook. You just have to search the Green Growler. Instagram, we're at green_growler. And then our website, thegreengrowler.com. We got all of our flyers that I sit and meticulously Photoshop.
Nice.
But yeah, like I said, music every weekend and everything from punk to funk to jazz, everything in between. So yeah, and all local, all independent artists, all original as much as we can do, because there's so much cool stuff that has always existed in Westchester, and it's nice to make sure everybody knows about it. And also that it's not upstate. Absolutely not upstate.
No, it's not upstate. I mean, a lot of people still consider Yonkers upstate, so it's a battle. It's a battle we have to fight in
It's
Westchester.
fine. Nobody's perfect.
Right. Well, Evan, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming down. Make sure you go and say hello to Evan up at the Green Growler, Croton-on-Hudson, and take the train. If you're on the Hudson, hop on the Hudson. This is a perfect time to see the full foliage.
Yeah.
And get off at Croton-on-Hudson.
Yeah, have a couple beers at every stop, and by the time you get home, it'll be a good day.
It'll be a good day. Cheers.
Cheers again. Thanks, man.
Thanks.